Let me take you back to the year 2009. I know you've clicked on the podcast. You want to hear about the year 2009. 2009 is the year after Pakistan witnesses terrorist attacks on their soil and before the spot fixing scandal. In my opinion, 2009 is the year that bifurcates, divides, draws a line between the two eras of Pakistan cricket. You either lie before this line of 2009 or you lie after this line of 2009. And it depends on what kind of fan of Pakistan cricket you are if you lie before and after. If you lie before this line of 2009, you are a hopeful fan. You have seen good times and you have had heroes and pin-up posters of Shahid Afridi, Wasim Akram, Yunus Khan, even Muhammad Amir. And if you're a fan after this time, you are cynical. You have seen exile. You have seen turmoil. You have seen depression. And there are moments of happiness sprinkled out, but all in all, it is a tough time to be a fan after this year. With me, as always, my brother and co-host Bashar Sayyed, here to answer how Pakistan won the 2009 T20 World Cup, a very important tournament in terms of development of where we sit here today in this Coliseum of Backward Point. This Coliseum does not exist if 2009 does not exist. Our love for Pakistan cricket does not exist if 2009 World Cup does not exist. Bashar, the floor is yours.
One of my favorite podcasts is called Rest is History. It is a podcast by two British guys who go back in time and talk about major events in human history. And so I wanted this episode to be sort of be inspired by what they do. We go back in time in this episode and talk about how Pakistan won the 2009 T20 World Cup. Last year, before the Champions Trophy, we did an episode called How Pakistan Won the 2017 Champions Trophy. This episode is going to be similar, where we talk about the events leading up to the World Cup itself, some matches that have happened there.
This has also become sort of a tradition on the podcast because if you remember 2023, we also did How Pakistan Won the ODI World Cup, where we went through every single Pakistan game. It's a very long hour and 15-minute podcast. I think we've sort of found a rhythm now on how to actually execute these podcasts, but I think this was a very important one. As soon as you brought it up in our meeting, and I was like, this is something we have to do. We have to talk about. We have to show the young'uns exactly what happened. And I love the way you've sort of you mapped it out. You haven't gone straight for 2009. You've given some sort of context to what the T20 World Cup was, and then I'll give you some context what happened after.
This episode is not for you. It's not for me. It's not even for people listening right now. It's for people in 2085 when they're like, yo, how did Pakistan win the 2009 World Cup? Hopefully someday somebody's going to come across this podcast. If YouTube is a thing, if we're not made into humanoid robots, they'll find this podcast and we can walk them through exactly what happened.
If you're listening from 2085, comment now.
My first question was, how did Yunus Khan even become captain? Because Pakistan had a pretty good run in the 2007 T20 World Cup where Shoaib Malik was the captain, and Shoaib Malik led Pakistan to the finals of the T20 World Cup. And before I could get into how Yunus became captain, my question was, how did Shoaib Malik become captain?
We're going way back.
And so I found out that after the 2007 ODI World Cup, Inzamam ul Haq stepped down as a white ball player, as captain. And at the time, Yunus Khan was the vice captain for the past couple of years. Bob Woolmer had made Yunus Khan the vice captain. But when it came time to stepping up and becoming the men's team official captain, Yunus Khan said, and I quote, "I do not want to take captaincy as I do not want to deal with the mental strain that comes with being Pakistan's captain."
Yunus Khan, in the span of this podcast, you will hear has some banger press conference moments, some not so banger press conference moments, and like just a consistent run at just having a mic in front of him and saying the most outrageous thing that comes to his mind. And this is not far from it.
And the next best option that the PCB found was Shoaib Malik. Shoaib Malik was, at the time, 25 years old. He was a definite starter in all of Pakistan's playing 11s. And so Pakistan is a country where the most deserving captain doesn't become captain, like the most tactical guy or the most strategic guy, but the guy who is a starter in the playing 11, he's the one nominated for captaincy.
Shoaib Malik becoming captain of white ball cricket in Pakistan. What is that comp for this era of Pakistan cricket? Like which player would you randomly give captaincy to? Was Salman Yaga actually a really good comp for Shoaib Malik here?
In terms of not having experience of captaining domestically, yes, because Shoaib Malik had only captained a couple of games for Sialkot Stallions.
This is with his S or Z?
S, ending with an S.
Stallions with an S, the way it should be.
Yeah, Salman Agha is similar in the sense where Agha didn't have much experience captaining Pakistan as well.
But Agha is still like a bit older. Who would, like age-wise, I'm trying to think which player, if we had just like in this current lineup, just gets captaincy suddenly.
I wanted to say Shaheen, but Shaheen has had experience captaining Qalandars.
Maybe Saim, like if you give Saim Ayub captaincy, this is the equivalence of like Shoaib Malik getting captaincy in 2007.
And so in that World Cup, Pakistan in 2007, they had played 7 matches. They won 5. They lost 2, both of them against India. The first group match was where it was a tie, plus there was a bowl out. Pakistani players did not have any idea there was going to be a bowl out. Pakistan was sending their best bowlers to hit the stumps. India was sending spinners like Sehwag and Robin Uthappa. So guys who are not even genuine bowlers, because they were practicing the bowl out before, like in practice games during their
Robin Uthappa, shout out Jared Kimber, by the way. This is the 2007 World Cup where Pakistan loses 2 straight matches to India, one in the group stages, one in the final, is basically, in my opinion, where the curse of the ICC tournament start. Yes, there are, I believe, at least 3 instances before the 2007 T20 World Cup where Pakistan has lost to India. 92 comes to mind, 96 comes to mind, 2003 comes to mind.
99.
99 as well?
Yep.
Really? We lost in 99 as well?
Yep.
Wasim Akram?
Yep, we lost.
Okay. Totally forgot that out of my memory, but 4 instances where Pakistan has lost before. But the true new era curse of not beating India in a World Cup starts from these 2 back-to-back losses. And then it's just a whirlwind of losses and heartbreak up until 2021.
That final particularly was a lot heartbreaking because I think Misbah gets a lot of hate for playing that scoop shot against Joginder Sharma.
Context, guys.
But people forget that at one point when Pakistan was chasing, they were 104 for 7 in 16 overs, and Pakistan needed 54 runs in 24 balls. And Misbah, from that stage, took Pakistan where they needed only 6 runs in 4 balls. Now, there was a definite miscalculation where Misbah tried to play a scoop shot, a shot that he was playing quite frequently and successfully in that World Cup, but he tried to play it against Joginder Sharma, who was a medium pacer at best. His bowling speeds were around 120 kilometers. And so when he played that shot, there was not enough pace on it for the ball to travel over the short fine leg fielder for a boundary. And so he got caught out. And I remember the scenes where there's pictures on Cricket Info. The Indian team is celebrating, and Misbah ul Haq is on his knees, looking down, and just 2 contrasting emotions in one frame.
I think Joginder Sharma, by the way, shout out Jogi. Like, Jogi my hero, Anjana, bro. Like, this is a vibe right here, firstly. Secondly, 54 for 24 could have been the original 48 from 18. That's my hot take. If that, I mean, it never happened, so obviously I can make this claim, but 54 for 24, if that gets chased in a final against India, I think a lot of things change in terms of Pakistan cricket as well. Like, a lot of the tides would change. There would be no monkey on the back for any ICC event. Things would move a little bit differently. Also, I wonder what effect that has on the IPL, because the IPL, I know it was a concept that was brewing way before the 2007 ODI World Cup. 2007 T20 World Cup, but it definitely came into fruition after that. And I wonder if, obviously Yuvraj hits the 6 also ignites that, basically that desire to have this kind of electric cricket being played all around the world. And then the India winning that, I believe, was a catalyst of the IPL becoming so successful and then becoming what it is now, basically becoming a successful franchise and now on the cusp of ruining world cricket. So it's such a weird thing. And I wonder what happens if in 2007 if Pakistan actually win that World Cup and clearly are the dominant team of that era in that format. Because look, 7 World Cup win in this hypothetical situation, 9 World Cup win, we go back to back, and every single World Cup after that, up until I believe 2016, they were in the semifinals.
Maybe the PSL happens before the IPL.
Maybe the PSL happens before maybe Pakistan is ruining world cricket right now.
Fun fact, Joginder Sharma never played for India ever again. So
nor should he.
His last professional game is a ICC T20 World Cup final that he won. He went on to become a DSP in the Haryana Police.
Salute.
Now, the other question is, why did Shoaib Malik then lose captaincy? What happens is, in 2009, Shoaib Malik goes on a horrible run of losing ODI series and test series, and there's a general consensus that he is not able to carry the senior guys and the junior guys. So the senior guys were Shahid Afridi, Yunus Khan, Mohammad Yusuf. They weren't on good terms with Shoaib Malik. And so when Shoaib Malik lost an ODI series, Ejaz Butt, I believe he was the PCB chairman, he then approaches Yunus Khan to become the captain. But what's funny is that Shoaib Malik, as the captain of Pakistan and T20Is, has an impeccable record. So up until then, he had played 14 matches, 11 wins, 2 lost, 1 tied. So a 78.5% win rate. Pakistan, again, mixing formats. He was not a good captain for ODIs or test matches, but they removed him from all formats.
This was really early on when the new format was also introduced. There was no differentiation between formats, if I'm being very honest. Everything was a blanket situation. That's why India sending in a young squad into the 2007 World Cup with MS Dhoni leading seemed like a harmless thing. And, like this is not even a real format, et cetera, et cetera. Like we'll hear about this in Yunus Khan's presser in the future. But this is where, like, I think, I don't really want to blame Ejaz Butt. I have a lot of other qualms with Ejaz Butt in the future. If we ever cover the 2011 World Cup, ODI World Cup, there's a lot of other situations where I think he made blunders, but I don't think it's really up to him. These things were so brand new. You cannot give Pakistan cricket the advantage or even the privilege to be this forward thinking. It's a tough situation for Shoaib Malik to lose that because, like you said, his record was impeccable. I would love to know what series he lost in that span between 7 and 9. I believe there was an India series he lost as well.
He lost, I think, against Australia. There was a series against New Zealand and also West Indies.
Yeah. There was also a series in Pakistan against India as well. I think he was captaining. He may have lost that. By the way, his record against India is impeccable. You go look at his ODI records just against India, you'll be like, this guy is Bradman. But Shoaib Malik loses captaincy. And this is where I tried to look up why it wasn't just offered to Shahid Afridi, who was a player of the tournament in 2007. I couldn't really find any substantial evidence of it ever being offered to him. I think he was the rightful successor. And if Afridi gets captaincy in 2009 for Pakistan, maybe Pakistan doesn't win the World Cup in the whole butterfly effect of it all. But I think he was still the standout player in that World Cup, the one that we're about to discuss. And him leading Pakistan in the 2009 World Cup, 11, 12, 14, I think that run is what should have happened. Obviously did not.
I was also looking at events that happened after the 2007 World Cup until 2009 because there was a few players missing from Pakistan squad from the 2007 World Cup that couldn't play the next World Cup. And so, for example, Imran Nazir, he was not part of Pakistan squad because he left the Pakistan team to play in the ICL.
ICL, please explain what the ICL is.
The ICL was how do you describe it? It was the
IPL before.
It was
hashtag Lahore Badshahs, guys. Come on.
It was a rival league to the IPL, but it was not sanctioned by the ICC. And the BCCI said that any players involved in the ICL will never play for India ever again. And there was a fight between the broadcasters. So ZTV was broadcasting the ICL, whereas there was other big broadcasters broadcasting the IPL. So there was a sort of a fight between, it was kind of like WWE and WWF back in the day.
Were they running concurrently?
I think they were happening in similar time frames.
Yeah.
And a lot of Pakistan players left the Pakistan team to play in the ICL.
I remember Inzi was captaining.
But Inzamam was at the end of his career.
Yeah.
There were other more prominent guys. Muhammad Yusuf went, Imran Nazir, Imran Farhad, Abdul Razak, Muhammad Sami. So these players were then sort of put in the shadows. They were blacklisted. And Muhammad Hafiz was dropped for his bad performances. Abdul Rahman was dropped. Muhammad Asif was caught with opium in Dubai. And before that, he was tested positive for illegal substances in the IPL. So he also missed the 2009 World Cup because of that.
Now, again, there's been a resurgence of Muhammad Asif, and I think maybe this is a wider topic. I just want to touch upon this recently. When you see those reels of Muhammad Asif talking about, ball se baatein karta tha. This guy was caught with opium in a Pakistan kit in Dubai.
Muhammad Asif was his own worst enemy.
Yes.
And, I'm just thinking about what stuff he did that did not get caught.
Yes, that's a very good question. The stuff that we don't know about is what I'm scared about more. So these guys were then dropped from the 2009 squad. Who was added, Bashar?
Ahmed Shahzad was added.
Oh, the arc begins.
Shahzeb Hassan was added. And Shahzeb Hassan was added because Pakistan wanted some aggressive openers up top. And so at the time, Shahzeb Hassan had a record of 145 in T20s, although the sample size is just 4 matches. But he was an aggressive batter up top. So Pakistan, again, looking to be aggressive in the power play.
And then Abdul Razak, how was he given sanction? Like, how was he given the notice to come back in the team if he was sanctioned by the ICL?
Yeah, so they were kind of given, what do you call it? An NOC by the ICC, by the PCB, and they were reintroduced back into cricket. And luckily, Yasir Arafat got injured in the World Cup, and so Abdul Razak came in as a replacement for him. Saeed Ajmal was a new bowler for Pakistan at the time. He was a mystery spinner. He just reinvented the dusra. It was him and Murli bowling the dusras.
As Indi would say, youngster.
And then Muhammad Amir was another youngster.
Who's Muhammad Amir?
Muhammad Amir at the time was a 17-year-old who was looked at as the next Wasim Akram. Somebody who could bowl and swing, was very smart, ball 145 clicks, and he was looked at as the next generational talent who would dominate world cricket.
And so he did for the next 18 months until he was caught.
Yeah. So the format of this World Cup, there were 4 groups of 3 teams each, with the top 2 teams from each group advancing to the Super 8s, where you would go into 2 groups of 4. And so Pakistan's group had England and Netherlands. And Pakistan actually had a bad start to the tournament because they lost their 2 warm-up games against South Africa and against India. The fun fact is, against India, Mohammad Amir dismissed Rohit Sharma for the first time, but not the last time.
Can you name the entire squad of the 2009 World Cup that went into to play for Pakistan?
Yeah, it was.
Let's go.
Salman,
all 15.
Salman Butt, Kamran Akmal, Shahzeb Hassan, Ahmed Shehzad. Shahzeb Hassan, did I say that?
You said that already?
Yunus Khan, Misbah ul Haq, Shoaib Malik, Shahid Afridi, Abdul Razak, Saeed Ajmal, Fawad Alam.
Fawad Alam is a good one.
Suhail Tanveer.
Here's where I get tricky, yes. Keep going.
Suhail Tanveer was there. Rauf Iftikhar Anjum.
Yes, Iftikhar Anjum, Mohammad Amir, Saeed Ajmal, Umar Gul, and Shoaib Akhtar was withdrawn. Do you know why Shoaib Akhtar was withdrawn? I think it was an injury-related situation.
Yes, a very private injury.
Is it the general award situation?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. We were at the Ahmed Naqvi from Battafas did a talk here in Toronto about why we follow Pakistan cricket. And near the end, some precarious diseases were also mentioned, not to mention it here, but imagine Shoaib Akhtar at that World Cup. That'd be insane. Was Mohammad Amir picked because Shoaib Akhtar was dropped? Is there any correlation?
I can't say why.
I remember Amir was a huge fan of Shoaib Akhtar, though. He was like, this is my guy. I am absolutely obsessed with him.
There's also a fun story where Shoaib Akhtar saw Mohammad Amir ball in a game in the UAE. And it was at that point where Shoaib Akhtar was like, okay, time to retire because this guy's going to take over now.
Shoaib Akhtar at that age, if he had played that World Cup, would have been 33 years, 301 days. And Mohammad Amir had just turned 17.
And he would have at least won some major
some
career.
gold. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I feel for Shabi there.
So Pakistan gets off to a horrible start, loses their warm-up games, but it's very common for Pakistan that when they win tournaments that they lose warm-up matches because back in 1992, Pakistan also lost their warm-up games against Sri Lanka.
I just want to say this. I think the start of the whole 1992 myth also begins from here. We talked about how, there's a split between eras of Pakistan cricket, pre-2009, post-2009. I think the re-emergence of the myth of 92 also comes back in this situation as well, because there was a lot of Pakistan math that you had to do to get this team over the line. And it happened, and Pakistan won at the end of the day. But, you will hear a lot of the 92 references moving forward.
Pakistan's first official game of the World Cup was against England at the Oval. And it was also Mohammad Amir's debut. And in his first over, he gets Ravi Bopara out, caught by Shoaib Malik at
backward point. There we go. Mohammad Amir showed signs of brilliance really early on in this tournament. We'll talk about the final as well, which we've made an explainer about how that is genuinely one of the best first overs of World Cup finals ever. But this was also the sign of this guy has something different in him.
But England was also ahead of the curve in T20s because they had their T20 Blast tournament happening since 2003 or 4. So they were very experienced, similar to Pakistan, where they had a really good squad. Even because Bobara got out, Kevin Peterson comes in. And then Luke Wright, Kevin Peterson just smashed Pakistan, followed by Ovesh Shah and all the way till the end. So they scored 185, which at that time was a score was way above par.
Ovesh Shah, by the way, deep cut name from the English squad. Firstly. Secondly, I remember watching 185 being put on the board for 20 overs and being like, I didn't even know that this was possible. Like, you could do that. I remember a few years before that, I believe it was 2006, where the famous 434 game happens between Australia and South Africa. And so there was precedence of huge totals being put up. But at that time, I remember 185 felt like this 185 felt like 271 that India just posted today against New Zealand. That's how it felt like. And there was no way that in any capacity I thought that Pakistan was going to chase that.
Pakistan in this match, some of the highlights were that Pakistan dropped 4 catches, and Pakistan's worst fielder was Salman Butt. He dropped a few dollies, and because Pakistan gave so many chances to the English batters, they came back and they made Pakistan pay. So bad fielding is how Pakistan started off this tournament with.
Do you think the way that Salman Butt's career then progressed and then eventually ended prematurely, that those catches are suspicious or no?
I can't say. Sometimes you can just say he's a horrible fielder, but like he did drop some real dollies.
Could just be Pakistan's curse of fielding.
Yeah. And so Pakistan went from Mohammad Hafiz and Imran Nazir opening in the last World Cup. Both of those guys were striking at around 160 in T20s at the time. And then they brought in Salman Butt and Ahmed Shahzad. So just a real backward step just to play more safe and more defensive.
And I mean, sometimes the past echoes the future, Bashar, if you know who's batting for number 4 for Pakistan right now.
Yeah. So Pakistan lose one-sided. And in the post-match, Yunus Khan comes out and he says, T20 cricket is like WWE wrestling. It won't be a disaster if we exit the World Cup in the Super 8s. It would be sad if we don't make it, but I have never attached too much importance to 2020 as it is fun cricket. I mean, it is more for entertainment, even if it is international cricket.
Wow. Banger. Absolutely horrible press conference, by the way. But this, you know what? This sparked so many questions when I read this about if Pakistan cricket is WWE, then who's who? Who's John Cena? Who's Randy Orton? Who's Shawn Michaels? Who's Triple H? I would love to know your opinion on this.
I can't say exactly who's who. Maybe Abdul Razak is Undertaker because he just came out of nowhere in the squad.
John Cena could be like Shahid Afridi, like you can't see me. Like sometimes he's in it and he's gonna win this whole thing, or you can't. He's in and out.
I want to say Kamar Akmal is like Rey Mysterio, small guy, flexible.
I thought Shawn Michaels and Triple H, when they had that duo, there was like more like Omar Akmal and Kamar Akmal. Like they're just gonna be there. DX. This is gonna happen together. Remember they had a fight with Gambhir and they both were like trying to charge him.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this is like prevalent of these two guys. It's what a quote. T20 cricket is like WWE. And then 4 weeks later, when he won the tournament, what did he say?
He's like, this is a gift for the nation, and we love this, and I'm the next Khan.
Yes, I'm the next Khan. Yes, so things change very rapidly in the span of a few weeks for Pakistan here.
Because it could also mean that because WWE, it's entertainment, it's scripted. Was he also implying that these games are also scripted?
Maybe he was talking about the future. Maybe he knew something that we didn't at the time. We'll never know. Yunus Khan, come on the podcast. Clear your name.
So Pakistan's next game was against Netherlands. And this was a very important match because in the same group, Netherlands had previously beaten England. And so basically it was kind of like a virtual do or die match. Pakistan had to beat Netherlands, but they also had to beat them by a specific margin to ensure that their net run rate is higher than Pakistan in Netherlands.
I remember when this World Cup started, I completely missed the T20 match against England. Very rarely did I follow that. I remember following the World Cup from this game moving forward. And I was like, now I'm hooked in because that first game was so abysmal. Like after 185 on the board, I'm like, this is not happening. I remember paying attention to this World Cup after this game and then just being hooked on forever.
The scenario was that Pakistan, if they were batting first, had to win by 25 runs. And if they were chasing, they had to finish the game with roughly 3 overs to spare. So Pakistan, this is like the group stage. This is the first stage of the World Cup. And we're still fighting for net run rate. We're like barely qualifying.
Let's go. 1992, 72 all out, but we still made it. So what does Pakistan do? Pakistan
starts the match by dropping Ahmed Shahzad, and they push Kamar Akmal as an opener because they think they want a more experienced guy, somebody who can really utilize the power play.
Dropping Ahmed Shahzad is sort of the key to winning any ICC tournament, which was why I was petitioning Ahmed Shahzad to be back in the squad just so we can drop him.
It is actually such a weird coincidence that same thing happened in 2017.
Exactly.
He plays the first match, and then Pakistan drop him the next match, and they go unbeaten the rest of the tournament. It's never heard of.
It's never heard of. And this is something similar that you'll see in this World Cup. Pakistan does not go unbeaten, but they win the damn thing.
Pakistan bat first, and they put up 175. So similar to what you were saying, how that 175, 180 was a really big total back in the day. And Pakistan get there thanks to Kamar Akmal, who shows up, scores boundaries up front. Salman Butt, who was a bit slow, but he played an impactful knock of 18 off 13 balls. And then, Shoaib Malik, Yunus Khan, they anchored their way through. And they were playing modern cricket before modern cricket was a thing. Like the top score for Pakistan is 41, yet Pakistan scored 175.
Yes.
So guys coming in, playing cameos, chipping in when they needed.
Yeah, this is, again, we didn't really talk about the history of T20 cricket in Pakistan, but I guess this is a very, very interesting crux on why Pakistan has always kind of been really good at the sport. You can go back to the T20 ABN AMRO Cups, the Faisal Bank Cups, way back in the mid 2000s. Pakistan was playing professional T20 cricket at a very high level for a very long time. The Sialkot Stallion versus Karachi Dolphins games used to be sold out. And I remember buying posters of Shahid Afridi from those, domestic games, technically. And so Pakistan has always had a knack for being forward thinking, at least in this format. And so when I look at the way that Pakistan had sort of operated their T20 structure from 2007 all the way to 16, right when Afridi was retiring, things were like no other team was playing cricket the way that they were in this format. So yeah, I totally agree. Modern day cricket, baseball, what do you want to call it? It was happening there.
So Pakistan scored 175 and Netherlands need to score 151 to qualify for the Super 8s. But then Pakistan plays spin to win. They have guys like Saeed Ajmal and Shahid Afridi who are bowling the best that they've ever had in their lives. And Netherlands, poor guys, they weren't able to pick any of them. And Pakistan just ran through them and got them out for a score of 93.
This is where the Pakistan spin dominance emerges. Now, Pakistan always known for the land of pacers, etc. There is truth to that, but I've mentioned this many times before. I remember Usman Samiddin said it on our podcast and many other areas in the world as well, where Pakistan is like they've actually been really good with spin. Like if you remember from the Abdul Qadir days all the way down to now, Pakistan has always been the team that has had spin. Like in this tournament, we had Saeed Ajmal, we had Shahid Afridi, we had Shoaib Malik, was Hafiz in this? No, Hafiz was not. We had some really big names spinning webs around everybody. And Saeed Ajmal basically announced himself in this World Cup as the guy to lead Pakistan for the next 5 to 7 years in the spin department.
It was also interesting how Pakistan was using Ajmal. They were using him a couple of overs in the middle, and then they were saving his last 1 or 2 overs for the death. So post the 15-over mark, he was bowling a couple of overs at least towards the end, and guys would try to hit him out. And he had a dusra, he had a quicker one, he had an off spinner, and he would just take wickets towards the back end. Him and Umar Gul were sort of our go-to guys in the later half of the innings.
Umar Gul sort of set the template of what a T20 bowler must be.
A T20 death bowler.
I don't think you build, in my opinion, I don't think you can build a T20 Hall of Fame without having Umar Gul in it. I don't think you can build
for Pakistan.
I would argue for the world.
I think for the world, I would probably pick Lasat Malinga or Bumrah over Gul.
Okay, fair enough. That's your opinion, and mine would be to keep him in my 11 as the finisher. Last 3 overs, give him to him, and then what he did again in the future of this tournament, which we will find out, was insane. But this is where he started announcing himself that this guy has something that he in these 4 overs you can't touch Umar Gul.
Ajmal took 4 overs, 3 for 20. Afridi took 4 overs, 4 for 11, and then Shoaib Malik also chipped in with the wicket.
Also, this tournament is also one of the reasons that I decided to model my entire cricketing action over Shahid Afridi. It was this, and then moving forward to 2011, where it actually cemented it. Shahid Afridi 4 for 11 against Netherlands. He has a few different spells in the future as well in this tournament, where I was just like, I always remember Shahid Afridi as the opener who could also bowl, but that was never the case. People forget Shahid Afridi was put in the team, much like Shoaib Malik, as a leg spinning all-rounder, much like Shadab Khan as well. And so we forgot. This is also the arc that Shahid Afridi was going through. The first 10 years of his career, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to open now. And now he was like, oh, I'm a bowling all-rounder. Like, I also bat. Like, I will bat at 6'7", but I also bat. Like, this is my primary thing. And he stuck with it kind of till the end of his career. There were moments where he actually won the game with his bat. 2010 Asia Cup actually is a really good example of what he can do. He had 2 centuries in a span of 3 games and was also clinical with the ball. But this is the tournament where I was like, oh, shoot, Shahid Afridi, the bowler, is kind of sexy. Also, this is the tournament where the famous, I would say, celebration of Shahid Afridi with the hand up comes up. And, kids in Karachi, in the streets of Karachi, have been copying that since then.
We'll get to that. In this match, Kamran Akmal was the player of the match for his 41 runs and 4 stumpings. Can you believe that? Like, if Akmal is scoring runs and getting stumpings, Pakistan, give them the World Cup already.
Bashar, I think you and I are hard on Kamran Akmal. Also, he's a very, easy. The Akmal brothers are so easy to pick on. It's so easy. They're just funny in the nature of them being who they are. But there is a definite argument for Kamran Akmal Hall of Fame for Pakistani T20s. He's a World Cup winner.
Pakistan.
You don't want to follow up on that?
It's tough. I think if I were to make my all-time Pakistan 11, I would make Sarfaraz Ahmed
The keeper,
the
batsman?
keeper and the captain. That's just my
I'm
opinion.
not arguing with you there, but Kamran Akmal has a lot of. He's given a lot for Pakistan.
I think his record in the
format.
PSL is impeccable. He'd be my all-time PSL 11, but not in internationals because he wasn't able to convert his numbers in internationals.
I just remember standout performances, this World Cup being one of them. The 192 or 198 against Australia, where Pakistan lost that game, where Hussey hit 4 sixes to Saeed Ajmal. He had an insane opening stand that game as well. And if you look at his T20 numbers, they're pretty good as well. So I think, Sarfaraz supremacy, I agree in that. But Kamran Akmal was not far behind in T20s.
Pakistan win, they go to the Super 8s, and in their group, they have Sri Lanka, New Zealand, and Ireland. Their first game is against Sri Lanka. And
pause. How did Ireland make it through?
Ireland made it through. I think it's because Australia went winless in the tournament.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They lost to the West Indies, I believe, and they lost to, I want to say, India, maybe?
Okay.
So Australia didn't go through, and so Ireland made it.
That's crazy. Like Australia has never actually been super amazing in this format. Just losing against Pakistan 2-0 in Pakistan just kind of like amplifies that message for me. They have won a couple, I believe. 2021, I remember that they definitely won that one. I think, did they win 2012 as well? They won 12.
Sorry, correction. Ireland qualified ahead of Bangladesh.
Okay.
So they were in a group with India, Ireland, Bangladesh, and they beat, I'm guessing they beat Bangladesh, and Bangladesh was winless. That's why they went through.
Cool. But yeah, Australia, this is why I also believe that in the 2026 World Cup, Australia might not have a huge chance. But anyways, that's beside the point. Yep. Ireland in the Super 8, it's great. Good for them.
So Pakistan were bowling first, and their first over was a horrendous one. It was Sohail Tanveer, who had given 18 runs in the first over. That included 2 no balls, 3 wides, free hits that went for boundaries. And, in an era where like 150, 160, 140 was like a good score, you give 18 runs in the first over. And Sohail Tanveer didn't even look fit that World Cup. He was not agile in the field. There were boundaries going right past him, right, left, and corner. He was dropping catches. So even in this over, like, he's never looked this wayward ever.
I think actually, because I rewatched that over just today, he just feels like he got the yips. Like he wasn't able, like every single wide, he would like put his head in his hands. And it was the first over, it's the third ball of the match. So Tanveer, what are you doing? I just felt like he was a bit nervous. I don't know why. He was great in the 2007 World Cup, standout performer.
Sri Lanka had got to 80 for 0 in about 8 overs, and then they were 81 for 1 at the end of the 9th over. Pakistan then pulled it back, and they restricted Sri Lanka to 150. This is the same World Cup where Dilshan was an immaculate phone. Like, he was hitting boundaries left, right corner. He had discovered this new shot called the Dil Scoop, where he was playing for fun. He was scooping length balls over the keeper's head for a boundary. Jai Surya was always an attacking opener. They had guys like Sangakkara and Jayawardene in the middle order to give some more stability. So they were also really good T20 side.
Very forward-thinking T20 side as well. I remember, like, my hot take at the end of this tournament, we can revisit this topic, is that maybe Shahid Afridi should have been the player of the tournament. But yeah, Dilshan was impeccable. He was absolutely outstanding and becomes the player of the tournament instead of Afridi.
Amir 4 overs, 0 for 26. Omar Gul 4 overs, 2 for 34. Afridi 4 overs, 2 for 23. Ajmal 4 overs, 2 for 26. And because Sohail Tanveer had 2 bad overs, Yunus Khan had Shoaib Malik bowl 2 of his overs.
How did Malik bowl in that?
2 overs, none for 5.
I love it. So spinning
because you had like multiple bowling options, you were able to bring in Shoaib Malik to compensate for Tanveer's bad day. Again, ahead of the time.
Ahead of the curve. This is what Mike Heston's entire game plan is right now, and it works really well. You have the likes of Doc and Rash talking about how this is like not the way to play T20 cricket, which I wholeheartedly disagree with, because we have a template of how this works and how you can actually win tournaments.
So Pakistan bottle the chase. Salman Butt gets out for a 0 on 3 balls, gets bowled by Matthews, and then Kamran Iqbal also 5 runs off 9 balls. There was some partnership between Shoaib Malik and Yunus Khan. Yunus Khan scores a 50 off 37 balls. So typically, you don't, attach attacking cricket with Yunus Khan, but in this game, he was looking really good, sweeping guys like Mendes and Murli. But Pakistan just weren't not able to get over the line. I think it's because of the finish by Misbah and Fawad Alam and Sohail Tanveer. I don't know why Fawad Alam was in this team, but I think he was brought in because you wanted somebody who was a good fielder, kind of a good batsman, and could maybe bowl, over here and there.
Fawad Alam played semifinal and final all the way through.
Yes.
Like he was, I don't know if he was a very important, integral part of this winning combination, but he was definitely there. I'll tell you how like cricket is such a funny game. There's a shot that Shahid Afridi plays against Muralitharan, which catches him out in this game, which is basically a slog sweep or like a heave towards mid wicket, toes it or skies it, and he's out. Right? He plays that same shot against Muralitharan maybe a couple weeks later in the final twice, and they both go for 4. That's how weird and fickle this game is. That you could be out 1 second, and the other instance, 50 match winning.
Yeah.
So
Pakistan loses match by 19 runs, and a lot of the blame was given to the extras that were bowled in the match. And again, Pakistan's fielding, which was horrible. Their ground fielding was bad, their catching was not good. And even so, Yunus Khan came in the post-match and said that we might bench Salman, but because of his fielding. Like his batting is decent, but his fielding is so bad that he's providing a net negative value in the team.
See, this is why when I asked you the question beforehand, knowing how his career ends and knowing also how rigid and stringent, almost like a military captain, Yunus Khan was, it kind of, alludes to the fact that maybe he was onto something. And benching him again. We will
There's
never
no
know.
evidence.
There's allegedly whatever you want to. I don't want to get sued, but I'm just saying like this is not boding well for the future of Salman. But already,
Pakistan's next game was against New Zealand.
No, this is the game. This
is
is
the game where things turn for Pakistan.
Yes, this is. In my opinion, this is the game which makes a lot of these players that we now remember fondly household names.
They make 2 important changes. Yunus Khan brings in Abdul Razak for Sohail Tanveer, giving 4 reliable overs plus batting depth. And he brings in Shahzeb Hassan for Salman Butt to give Pakistan a quick start up front. Now, this game was happening at the Oval, and I have fond memories. We were at our puppy's house.
Yes.
All of our cousins were gathered, and you were watching this match. And New Zealand, actually, they got off to a pretty decent start. They were 33 for 2 in 4 overs. So Brendan McCullum was sort of hitting up top. He was the known player for the T20 format at the time. He was a star player in the IPL. His 150 in the first ever game of the IPL sort of lit the tournament alight. And he was a household name when it came to this format.
Yeah, totally agreed. And it was. I remember the vibe around this game was like, Pakistan might spin this around. There have been clinical individual performances that have given us hope. We don't know what's going to happen. And then please, Bashar, tell us what happened in this game.
Abdul Razak came in and he striked in his first over, so immediately putting an impact. And for me, the actual game-changing moment was the spell by Umar Gul. Now, what's interesting is that Umar Gul, my bad, he doesn't even get introduced until the 12th over. So here Pakistan is, they haven't bowled Umar Gul, their main bowler, their highest wicket taker of the last World Cup, their most informed bowler, and he comes in and he delivers his ball to Scott Styris, which he hits towards deep mid wicket. It skies. And when you're watching on TV, all you see is the ball in the air. And when it comes down, you see Shahid Afridi running back, extending his arms and catching the ball, making sure that he's balancing himself so that he doesn't fall over the boundary. And in the peripherals, you can see the Pakistani crowd who are jumping and screaming, and they cannot believe the catch that Shahid Afridi has just taken. Afridi stops, he does his pose, he throws the ball back, and I don't think I've seen a catch like that since, because if you play cricket, the hardest catches are the ones where you're running back and you don't have a lot of view of what the boundary rope is going to be. And so Afridi was balancing multiple things to ultimately take that catch.
Since that catch, there have been many instances where people have taken a very similar running back over your head catch. In my head, nothing can surpass what that catch basically just idolizes, right? What it pertains to, like the wind in his Shahid Afridi's hair, running back, hair flopping around, catching it, kind of bewildered at the fact that the ball is in his hands, looks up, does his iconic pose that you and I and everybody in the streets of Karachi and Pakistan have done since and will continue to do forever, and then that just cements that picture, that iconic shot of Shahid Afridi catching the ball, which shout out to the ICC photographers who have a shot of Shahid Afridi just as the frame of him with the ball in his hand, running forward, eyes closed, wind in his hair, like fully extended as far as he can. And that iconic photo is just like embedded in a generation's mind. People whenever they think about somebody running back and taking a catch anywhere in the 30-yard circle or in the boundary, when we're playing club cricket, we always talk about, hey, that looks like the Shahid Afridi catch. That's how iconic it is.
Umar Gul then strikes the next ball. He gets an LBW.
That's how good that catch was. That Umar Gul was so inspired. I was like, you know what? I'm going to destroy everything in front of me.
He was actually on a hat trick twice in this match. He also got Nathan McCullum bowled and another batsman caught out. And we had never seen such reverse swing since maybe Shoaib Akhtar or Waqar Younis. Like his control on the reverse swing, the line, the length, the speeds, and just the timing and the accuracy of those Yorkers were amazing.
I absolutely agree. Like Umar Gul then announced himself into the world stage on this moment, and he's like, "This is how it's going to be now. I'm going to be the best white ball T20 bowler for the next 5 years."
New Zealand get bowled out for 99, and Umar Gul finishes with a spell of 5 for 6 in 3 overs. It was the first ever 5-wicket haul in T20 eyes. And it was a world record for the best spell.
Is it still the only 5-wicket haul in World Cups, or maybe there's a few more?
Maybe there's more. I don't know.
Yeah, but insane record. We could not believe it. And only 3 overs bowled.
The funny part is, after that match, the New Zealand captain, Dan Vittori, comes out. He says that, I have never seen a ball reverse after 12 overs. So basically implying that maybe Pakistan or Umar Gul are involved in some sort of ball tampering, sandpaper. I don't know, but he was just saying that he's never seen a ball reverse this much.
Seeing the way Cam Green reacted to the way that he got out against Usman Tariq today, I just feel like if anybody else in the world invents something, it's called potential cheating. And if any white person does that same thing, it's called quote unquote baseball or forward modern day cricket or forward day. Like it's pretty maligning and pretty, just disingenuous from the Aussies, and the Kiwis here too.
Yunus Khan was very pissed because even during the match, the umpires kept checking the ball, and he felt that it was embarrassing.
Disrespectful, yeah.
You're kind of implying that, hey, you guys are cheating. There's no other real way of reversing the ball, even though this game was at the Oval, and the Oval has a pretty good square. So if you throw the ball in the square, eventually the ball gets hard. You can rough up one side, and the reverse starts happening. It's like summertime in England, and the sun's out, dry surfaces. The reverse swing is very much possible.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, you know me, I'm on board with this. But quite a loserish statement from your boy Dan Vittori.
Pakistan got off to a good start thanks to Kamran Akmal and Shahzeb Hasan. They were brought on the side to have an aggressive start, and Pakistan gets there. And they were at 36 for 1 at the end of the 4.2 overs. And then Abdul Razak is then promoted, sort of like a low value wicket back in the day. It didn't pay off because he's only scored 5 runs off 8 balls. But then it was Shoaib Malik, Shahid Afridi who finished it off. Afridi also promoted ahead of Yunus Khan at number 5, and he scored 29 off 18 balls. Pakistan win this match by 6 wickets.
This is where Shahid Afridi's clinical performance kind of like begins, or like has started off with the Netherlands series, but like just continues off. He's starting to peak now in the tournament. Shahid Afridi in this game, 4 for 17 with 1 wicket, takes this insane catch of Scott Styres that is now embedded in the history and annals of cricket forever. Also 28 and 29 off 18, strike rate of 161, coming in and batting at number 5. Shahid Afridi all-around performance. If the 5-4 does not happen for Umar Gul, this guy's my man of the match.
Correct. The next game for Pakistan is against Ireland. This one is sort of an easy game for Pakistan because they had to win this game by an okay margin just to make sure that they go through, and to ensure that only one of Sri Lanka or New Zealand qualify for semis. Pakistan bat first. They score 159, which again, at Lord's, at the Oval, this is a good score back in the day. This is an above par score, and Pakistan, with how good their bowling was, Ireland was no real match for them.
And this is where Yunus Khan starts like experimenting. He sees the good form that Shahid Afridi is in the previous game, because Afridi kind of batted a little bit higher than he usually does. He bats 6-7. He batted at 5. This game, like you said, Shahid Afridi is used as a low value wicket, but he becomes a very high impact player in that transition, because he comes in at number 3, 24 off 13, 184 strike rate. We keep talking about strike rates. 3 4s, puts the game on one side. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Pakistan understood that Shahid Afridi's best matchup was actually against spin. Like, his game against spin, he's so dominating that he needs to be in the middle overs, playing spin, dominating spin. And also, even if he's in the power play, he's pretty good at playing pace. He's good enough to clear the infield and hit boundaries. And Pakistan, with this same mentality, were able to get to good starts and be ahead of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think maybe they didn't use those terms like you just mentioned. Like maybe they didn't use the term matchups or whatever, but they definitely understood that Shahid Afridi's power and how you can hone it and use it for your benefit. He won't give you 50-run stands, which ironically he does twice in this World Cup when it counts the most, but he will give you that cameo in the middle that keeps that momentum going and doesn't feel like you lost a wicket.
Pakistan's bowling now looks to be shaping up in a good form. Like Mohammad Amir is a really good left arm angle that we have. Abdul Razak is the all-rounder who can bowl in the power play. Afridi is the middle overs wicket taker. Ajmal is the middle plus death overs wicket taker. Umar Gul is the specialist death overs bowler. And just, in this match, the star bowler was Ajmal. He took 4 for 19 and supported by Umar Gul, who took 2 for 19.
And Pakistan basically find themselves now in a knockout game, which for Pakistan kind of was the beginning of the tournament. If you don't do this, you'll be knocked out. If you don't do that, you'll be knocked out. But now it's like we're in the semifinals. It's happening. We're here.
Kamran Akmal, again, the man of the match for his 57 and 2 stumpings.
Shout out, I'm telling you, Bashar, you have a Safi agenda, which I respect. But Kamran Akmal in this World Cup, he was something else. If you guys have made it this far to the tournament, into the podcast, please let me know if I'm right on this. Kamran Akmal in this World Cup was something else. May I say even like a Gilchrist?
This was very important for Pakistan because their last face-off against Ireland at a World Cup was in 2007, where Pakistan lost. And shortly after that, their coach died the next day.
Rest in peace, Bob Ulmer. We think about him all the time. He was the one who actually made Shahid Afridi who he is, promoting him with the order, telling him to play his natural game. He was the one who told Shahid Afridi, you're a star, you're a hero, play your way, I'll support you. And Afridi gives a lot of credit to where his career ended up to the late Bob Ulmer. So shout out.
Great coach. Pakistan semi-final. It's against South Africa. It's in Nottingham. And for context, South Africa right now is one of the favorites to win the tournament. They're unbeaten in this World Cup so far. They've already beaten Pakistan in the warm-up match, so they have some edge over them. Pakistan has sort of dragged their way through to the semi somehow, but South Africa are the more overall better team, a better fielding unit. They've got modern-day greats in Herschel Gibbs and A.B. de Villiers and Graeme Smith in their side. They've got a world-class pacer in Dale Steyn. And Pakistan are batting first. And to understand how insane Pakistan's batting was, Kamran Akmal hit Dale Steyn for a 6 right back over his head.
Insane. You're just proving my Kamran Akmal agenda here, honestly.
Like when stuff like this is happening, Pakistan is going to be unstoppable.
And we're not going to be in the talk on why we follow Pakistan cricket. Talked about the hal of Pakistan cricket. I think Usman Sami didn't coin that term. Hal being just like this meditative state you get into when you're just absorbed by mysticism, religion, spirituality. And this is basically a very good example of the Pakistani hal. Kamran Akmal doing what he did, and then Afridi doing what he does. After that, nobody expects Yunus Khan to come out and score 24 off 18. He does that. Like, things move in the way that Pakistan want them to move because now they are in the state of hal.
There was a quote by Nasir Hussain that he said in the match that I thought was very interesting. It was after Shahid Afridi had hit Wayne Parnell for a boundary over his head. Pakistan were 24 for 1 and 2 overs. And he said, I think we've worked out which Pakistan have turned up today. And it's the one to be afraid of.
Banger. Nasir Hussain with the bangers all the time. 1 minute down, next minute up. They cannot play him. And now this that you just mentioned. Nasir Hussain is 3 for 0, honestly.
One of the highlights for me in this match was this moment, a battle between Shahid Afridi and Jack Callis.
Oh, cinema.
This is the 5th over. Jack Callis comes and he bowls back-to-back bouncers to Afridi. Afridi plays and misses. After the second bouncer, Afridi tells Callis to go back.
No. Before that,
he signals.
Why does he signal him that though? Because Callis gave him the eyes, and Afridi was like, "Okay, yeah, two good ones," and then he was like, "Okay, go back."
The next ball, Afridi pulls Callis for a boundary. The ball after that, he hits him for a double towards mid-wicket. The last ball of the over, Afridi pulls him aggressively for a 1 bounce 4 while walking back to the crease to Daps Shoaib Malik. Shahid Afridi gives Jack Callis a flying kiss and a wink.
The chummi of a lifetime, the memification of Shahid Afridi, the sticker that I use the most in my WhatsApp chats, the chummi to Callis. I will use it ironically. I will use it for my wife. I will use it in a state of just complete bliss. That sticker, that GIF, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most important things to happen to Pakistan cricket. That just shows the attitude of what that team had become. It was going to be unstoppable. Shahid Afridi, again, cementing himself in the annals of Pakistan cricket and cricket for a lifetime, taking on Jacques Kallis, who in Wisden will tell you this, ESPN Cricket Info will tell you this, Harsha Bhogle will tell you this, I will tell you this, you will tell me this, that one of the greatest cricketers, if not the greatest cricketer ever produced. Look at his numbers. I implore you. He gets a chummi from Shahid Afridi, a one that he will remember.
Classic.
For years to come.
Classic.
Years to come.
The Pakistan post-power play slowed down. Pakistan was 68 for 2 in 10 overs. Malik was 13 of 21. Afridi was 30 of 25. And then comes the over against Johan Botha. Afridi hits 4 fours in a row to Botha. What he does is the first 3 boundaries, Botha tosses it up. Afridi backs away, hits him over covers. 3 boundaries in a row.
Yeah.
The last ball of the over, Botha goes around the wicket, tries to ball him on the off stump. Afridi this time plays a cheeky cut shot.
I know.
For the 4th 4.
This is where Afridi, I wish we had gotten more of this Afridi, where yes, you have the power and the tank-like built of demolishing the ball to freaking outside of Super Sports Park. Like, we know you can do this, but you can also do this. You can also get a cheeky 4 from first slip if you just angle the bat a certain way. And he has always had that. When he's playing at that level, we saw Afridi, the one that I just mentioned in the 2010 Asia Cup, where you got back-to-back centuries in 3 games and just insane run, right? You got that Afridi again in the 2011 World Cup with the bowling and kind of the batting in there as well. You know, Afridi has 6 or 7 ODI centuries, almost 4 or 5 Test centuries. He has a T20 century as well for Nottingham, I believe. For Hampshire, yes. Sorry, apologies. So there was that Afridi in him. I just feel like he was kind of torn. There's a first half Afridi that was batting heavy, then there was a second half Afridi that was bowling heavy. And this is the middle of that. This is literally, like I said, the line is drawn in 2009 for which era of Pakistan cricket you will be tragically placed in. This is also the middle of Shahid Afridi's career.
Afridi gets out the next over to JP Duminy. He basically gave him a lollipop and Afridi fell for it and gets trapped by JP Duminy. Pakistan dragged himself to 149. It was a total that they were looking to like around 160, 170 if Afridi had been on the crease. But the Abdul Razak, Yunus Khan, Shoaib Malik, they weren't able to get Pakistan to an explosive finish, which they wanted to.
149 did not, at the time, I remember this vividly, did not feel enough. I felt like, a miracle needs to happen. This is why whenever we look at this World Cup fondly, I always thought Pakistan had the final in the bag. I did not think that Pakistan had the semi-final in the bag. And yeah, and this was like one of those things where, I look back at this World Cup and it brings me back to those memories of like being absolutely stressed out that 149 is not enough. They have Jacques Kallis, they have Smith, they have Gibbs, they have ABD. Like, it's not going to happen for them. But again, Shahid Afridi had their plans.
Pakistan also dropped Graeme Smith in the power play. It was a simple catch by Umar Gul. He makes a meal of it. He falls down, hits his head on the floor.
Oh, I remember that.
Maybe gets a concussion here and there. Who knows? Maybe he still has it.
Maybe still he's concussed to this day.
But luckily, Mohammad Amir gets Graeme Smith out cotton bowled, and that sort of provided Pakistan the breakthrough of getting into the mid-loaders. Now, I think probably the most important spell for Pakistan this World Cup is the post-power play one where Afridi comes into ball. It's Herschel Gibbs batting. Now, for context, the kids watching that were just born in the last couple of decades, Herschel Gibbs at the time was probably one of the best white ball players going around in cricket. He had just recently scored that 175 against Australia, chasing 434.
Yep.
And, he was in red hot form. Like, he was a top pick in the IPL as well. So he was somebody to watch out for. And Afridi cleans him up with what I want to say was a slider. It was a gap between his bat and pad. The ball just pushes through, knocks over the off stump.
Look, Afridi always had this slider drifting delivery in him. I've tried to emulate my entire bowling career off of Shahid Afridi, so I feel like I am a good authority on what I'm about to say. But Shahid Afridi, you have to kind of play him like a medium pacer because he's quick. He's rapid. His action is very clean.
Gets drift
because of the seam movement, and he really puts a lot of revs in the delivery. And I don't think that world cricket was really ready or had taken Afridi for that kind of a bowler. I think this World Cup really emphasizes the fact that Shahid Afridi is a amazing wrist spinner. And then 2011 World Cup, in my opinion, like solidifies that fact. Like, yes, he's one for the ages. But this spell, and actually the spell against Sri Lanka in the one that Pakistan lost, also kind of was a really good spell. He gets Jayawardene out in that one. It's just fantastic fashion. Bat pad in between and mill snap out. The way that he gets Gibbs and then very quickly right after that gets ABD, it's over.
Everyone remembers Virat Kohli being dropped by Azhar Ali. Then the next ball, Shadab Khan catching him out, and the brilliance of Mohammad Amir to get him out twice in 2 balls. Nobody talks about how Kamran Akmal dropped AB de Villiers, caught behind in the same over. But Afridi, the next ball, gets AB de Villiers out inside edge bowled.
Look up the tape, guys. Kids, look up the tape. That's exactly what happened. And AB de Villiers, like we now moving forward into the future, know like how insane of a batsman he was. Probably one of the best dynamic cricketers in the middle order of all time, if not the best. And Afridi got him 1 for 5.
Talk about amazing quotes. I remember a quote from Bhogle when Afridi gets AB de Villiers out. He's in a celebration, and Harsha Bhogle says, "Is he the king of Lahore, Peshawar, and Karachi and Nottingham?"
Yes, he is. Harsha Bhogle again with a banger. Harsha Bhogle also has a great Shahid Afridi line where I think it was the Asia Cup and Afridi was batting against Bangladesh, and it was in Bangladesh, and Afridi hits a 6, and he says, "You can stretch the boundaries to the edge of the Cox's Bazar, but that will still not be enough for Shahid Afridi." Something in that vein still stands out. Bhogle is a real one.
Pakistan then put the squeeze on. South Africa needs 76 to win in 7 overs with 7 wickets in hand. It goes down where they need 39 in 3 overs. And there is Sejman bowling. Jack Callis is on strike. The first ball is a dusra. Callis attacks. He skies it. And Pakistan's best fielder, perhaps one of Pakistan's greatest fielders in their cricket history, is on long on.
Oh, yeah.
Shoaib Malik. And he takes a great catch because the ball went to the moon. You don't know where it's gone. It's coming down and you see it's Shoaib Malik. Your heart starts beating less faster than it used to be. And Shoaib Malik takes the catch.
It beats hard faster because of how amazing the catch was. I still look at that highlight and I'm like, he made it look so easy. That thing was in the air for like an hour, it felt like. And being under that and having the wherewithal to not overstep, catching it right at the edge of the boundary, such an important catch to seal the deal for Pakistan. Shoaib Malik underrated. If you have to make a top 5 fielders of all time for Pakistan, Shoaib Malik definitely in that list.
Last over, 23 to win, and it's a 17-year-old Mohammad Amir bowling. And we talk about Pakistan not getting off to a good start in the World Cup because of their poor fielding. Here is Pakistan, where Mohammad Amir, a youngster, is taking cotton balls. We have an incredible catch being taken by Shoaib Malik. And in this same over, Fawad Alam gets a direct hit of Albie Morkel from the long on boundary.
Yes, he would have got him twice, by the way. There was another one right after that. But I'm sorry, jumping the gun here. Insane throw. Fawad Alam, it felt like, in Karachi, we play this game called Kanche with marbles. Basically, you take a marble and you try to hit another marble that's about 3 feet away with it. And it felt like he was playing Kanche. It was insane that throw that happened. And you don't attribute that kind of electric fielding, I would say, or like, that marksman type fielding that with Pakistani fielders. And here's Fawad Alam aiming not once but twice from the boundary.
Pakistan win by 7 runs, and all the commentators are saying this is a big upset. South Africa has been shocked. Pakistan has, done the impossible.
Pause. I think we just skipped something here. Mohammad Amir defends this over, obviously. Insane over. He gets hit for a 6 as well, but he defends it. There's a moment where Mohammad Amir is not backing up the wickets, and he gets a mouthful, or an earful, I should say, from Yunus Khan. And even after Pakistan has won that game, he's still getting yelled at by Yunus Khan. Retrospectively looking back, do you think Yunus Khan was harsh on a youngster like Mohammad? 17 years old.
I think everybody has their own captaincy style, and I think Yunus Khan you can put up in the same bracket as Sarfaraz Ahmed, where he was very animated and aggressive on the field. But Yunus Khan being so strict ultimately led to the revolt against him within the team and him losing his captaincy. So important point, which becomes more relevant down the road.
It just stood out to me when I was rewatching the highlights for this game, where I was like, that was a bit. I mean, I get it. Like, emotions are really high. You really want to win this, et cetera, but I felt bad for Amir. Let's just say that.
Afridi was the player's match. And, before this World Cup, this match, Pakistan had lost to England. They had lost to Sri Lanka. They had only beaten minnows in Netherlands, Ireland, and they had a good game against New Zealand because of individual brilliance by Umar Gul. This was the first game where they came back and they won as a team, as a unit. And Pakistan they were on a roll.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is why I feel like once Pakistan made it to the finals, it felt like they were unstoppable. I know that Sri Lanka was unbeaten this entire tournament. They basically had the player of the tournament in Dilshan in there. squad as well. Jayasuriya's form, Muralidharan, the way that he was like it didn't feel like Pakistan had an outside chance. But I remember watching this final with our cousins. Nobody in that room felt like, Pakistan's going to bottle this.
We had a watch party.
Yeah.
For the finals, we went to Puppy's house.
Yep.
All of our cousins got together. And
there's pizza involved.
Pakistan is bowling first. Dilshan is on the strike. And we're all scared because he is the informed batter. He is the highest run scorer. And he is toying with bowlers this entire tournament. And here is a 17-year-old Mohammad Amir bowling to the top run scorer.
Player of the tournament.
And when Amir bowls at first over, you see a clear tactic. The first 4 balls are bouncers. There's some slower balls in there. And there is a field change before that 5th ball where the fine leg is brought up, the square leg is taken back, and Amir balls that a little bit just a bit fuller. He invites Dilshan to play a little scoop. Dilshan falls for the bait, gets caught out at short fine leg by Shahzeb Hassan. And that sort of broke Sri Lanka's back.
You've talked about this. You made a full explainer on how this is the greatest first over in World Cup final history. I tend to agree with you. I think a 17-year-old Mohammad Amir who just got yelled at a lot by his captain in the game before, even though he won and defended 23 against likes of JP Duminy and the South Africans, comes out and bowls maybe the greatest first over in World Cup final history, and just cements his name as a T20 World Cup winner. Like nothing can be taken away from him. He was 17 years old, Bashar. Do you remember what you were doing at 17?
Not playing a World Cup final.
Exactly. And this guy had the weight of so much happening. Again, the context of international cricket basically being banned from Pakistan, the terrorist attacks happening not even 4 months before this World Cup is taking place. I think it happened in March of 2009. This World Cup was June of 2009. And just like, I don't even think Mohammad Amir in that moment realized the capacity or the gravity, I would say, of what he was basically trying to execute. And then executing it, maiden first over with the wicket of the player of the tournament. It actually does not get better than that. You cannot write this stuff in fiction because you won't believe it.
Mohammad Amir has played 2 finals for ICC tournaments in his career. The first one, he gets Dilshan, the main guy, out for a 5-ball dog balls, a maiden wicket over in a T20 World Cup final. The next final, he gets Rohit Sharma out for a 3-ball duck. So, big match, big player, big impact. That's Mohammad Amir.
This was always the case for Mohammad Amir, even against like India. If you remember the T20 World Cup, was it, or the Asia Cup, where he had them like 8 for 2 or 8 for 3. Just insane, reliable bowler for moments like this. Again, career shortened by scandals that happened literally like a year after this in the same place. But what could have been? What happened in this World Cup, though, was just an insane thing. And I'm so glad that Mohammad Amir was the one that gave us that.
Razak then gets Jihan Mubarak out the next over. So Sri Lanka are 2 for 2. And then there's a bit of an onslaught by Jayasuriya. He scores 17 runs off 10 balls. And then Razak also gets Jayasuriya out, inside edge. And what's funny is that he gets him out, but he falls down in his follow through. And by the time he gets up and sees, he's like, oh, he's got inside edge bowled.
Yep. It was crazy. Again, Razak was also kind of like the dark horse of this tournament. When he comes back into that New Zealand team, he takes wickets and he comes out and basically secures himself a permanent spot in the 11. And just, we talk about fast bowling all-rounders being an asset and you have to really cherish them. We never really got somebody like Razak. I mean, Fahim Ashraf is arguable. He hasn't really won anything huge. The 2017 Champions Trophy, yes, but he wasn't part of the playing 11 a lot. And Razak was a pivotal person in this tournament.
Razak also got Jayawardene out the over after. And so before the power play was over, Sri Lanka was 32 for 4. It's really hard to come back when you're in a World Cup final and you're 32 for 4 with your top guys out. But then there was a bit of a rebuild between Sangakkara and Chamara Silva. And that's when we got to see Umar Gul come in and get Chamara Silva out. Then there was Usuru Udana, who was then cleaned up by a phenomenal googly by Afridi. It was down the slope. It came in. Udana just missed the line of the ball and gets him bowled out.
Yeah, I mean, Shahid Afridi, this is where he's peaking now at this point. He's going out there. He's giving his 100% in the bowl. This is something he's proven before in the semifinal and the games before that. Now Shahid Afridi just working on the most maximum level that he can. It's been extremely reliable for the captain to give. I don't think he's given over 25 or 28 runs this entire tournament. Like an insane run, especially in games that count. And Shahid Afridi again with the ball proves it once again.
It was thanks to the cameo by Angela Matthews towards the end where Sri Lanka was able to get to 138. They scored 50 runs in the last 4 overs, which got to them that total. And so something really funny is that Abdul Razak had only bowled three overs in this match. And there's an interview he gave just a few years ago where he was talking about how he took 3 wickets in the match, just bowled 3 overs, and he kept asking Yunus Khan to bowl his 4th over. And Yunus Khan said, okay, I'm saving your over. And Razak says that to this day, Yunus Khan has saved his 1 over left that was in the World Cup final.
I didn't know Razak was like that jukti, like that kind of like a fun lad. I mean, post retirement, he's just been like out there, like saying the most outrageous things. But this was one of those things where you're just like, and this was on a show that Ramiz Raja was hosting for some reason. Like, go look at that clip. Look that clip up, guys. Like, it's genuinely funny. I want to come back to the Shahid Afridi of it all for a second. After the spell, Shahid Afridi wraps up his bowling spell for the 2009 World Cup. These are his figures in 7 games. Ready? 7 matches, 7 innings, 28 overs bowled, 11 wickets, best 4 for 11, 13.5 average, 5.3 economy.
Unreal.
In England,
Unreal.
as a wrist spinner.
Add to that his batting stats, and I think you're right. He could have been a contender for the play of the tournament.
Once we go into the second innings, I'll give you his batting stats as well. But I was definitely in contention of being,
So at one point, we were watching, and you see Sri Lanka losing wicket. You were very comfortable with the Pakistan will chases down. But once they get to 138, it's sort of it's an in-between score. Knowing Pakistan, they could easily collapse and lose this match. But Kamran Akmal and Shahzeb Hasan helped Pakistan get to a good start. We saw Kamran Akmal play sweep shots for 6. He was playing shots that you can't even imagine, and he was playing lap shots and manipulating the field. And he scored 37 off 28 balls with 2 sixes and 2 fours. Pakistan, once Shahzeb Hasan got out, were Kamran Akmal when he got out was 48 for 1 in 7.1 overs.
And then Shahid Afridi steps in. And then it's game over after that.
Afridi in that World Cup, semifinals plus finals, he played sensibly. He used his brain, he used his power, he used his experience. And all of those things are typically not attached to someone like Shahid Afridi.
This is what frustrates me with Shahid Afridi and being such a diehard Afridi fan, is that this could have been the Afridi that we could have gotten for longer terms. Like, if we had just gotten this Afridi for the rest of his career from 2009 to 2016, I feel like there would have been at least 1 more, if not 2 more trophies that would be in the the PCB cabinet right now. Unfortunately, that's just what we get with Afridi. It's topsy-turvy. It's a roller coaster ride. That fandom, I remember, was insane. And you talk about Babar Azam fandoms, which can be toxic and cultish, but Shahid Afridi fandoms, where people are getting the Shahid Afridi haircut for the 2011 World Cup, like, he's a style icon as well, right? People just wanted to be him. I know I did. And Shahid Afridi, you say he plays slow, like, sensibly. He hit 54 off 40 at 135 strike rate. If any of our openers did that today, we would have been like, this is modern day cricket. Shahid Afridi in that World Cup with his batting, 7 games, scored 176. 54 not out is the highest score. 35 average, 140.8 strike rate, 250s. And you tell me this is not a player of the tournament performance? Should have gotten back-to-back. Shahid Afridi was robbed of the 2009 player of the tournament. This man should have gotten back-to-back because of his performances all around. I'm not even adding the catches that he's taken. The Scott Styris one should be like, there should be a statue of Shahid Afridi with the Scott Styris catch in front of the National Stadium.
At one point, Pakistan needed 56 runs off 42 balls with 8 wickets in hand. And it looked like the game could have gone either way if Sri Lanka had gotten wickets. But that's the over where Afridi takes on Murli for a 6 over mid-wicket.
That's the one that he got caught out on.
He comes down the track for a boundary over covers.
Yes.
And that sort of made Pakistan go ahead of the game. But there was also another moment in the game where it kind of got close. Pakistan needed 19 runs off 14 balls. And that's when Shahid Afridi hits Isuru Udana for a 6. And then the next ball is a no ball that goes for a 4, which helps bring Afridi's 50.
Yes. And then we come to the last ball. Pakistan need 1 run. I think who's on Lloyd? David Lloyd was on comms, and he says,
before that, can we just say, before that last ball was bowled to Afridi, the camera panned over to the dressing room, and I saw Misbah-ul-Haq padded, helmeted. It seemed like Yunus Khan said that if there's a wicket that falls, Misbah, you go in, you finish the match, because of the trauma that Misbah had from playing that scoop shot. Like, that is how great of a guy Yunus Khan is. He's selfless. He promoted Afridi over himself, Malik over himself. He had Misbah-ul-Haq padded, ready to go in next to finish the game off. Anybody else would have been like, yo, I'm the captain. I want to go. I want to finish the match.
No, I think, Yunus being selfless, like that's a very good call, because imagine Misbah going in there, finishing the game, winning the World Cup for Pakistan, playing a second final on the trot, and just being that guy who, was not able to do it before, but does it now. And, just writing history in that way, nobody thinks of it, in that moment. It's just decisions that you're making that you think are right. But when history is written like it is being discussed today, those things stand out. And, Shahid Afridi plays that last ball. David Lloyd is on comms. He said, he hit that off his leg. Nobody cares. Pakistan has won the T20 World Cup. And also, I think Wasim Akram also on the comms with David Lloyd, as I remember.
David Lloyd said, Afridi fittingly hits the winning runs. Big man, big game. It's a leg by. Who cares? And then moments after, I was hearing the commentary. I found a 4-hour highlight on YouTube, by the way.
Wow. Link it in the description.
And then Wasim Akram says, and I quote, the Pakistan team will dedicate this victory to the brave army of Pakistan. And I'm like, what? Wasim Bhai, what?
Wasim Bhai coming in, he look at the future. He's like, I know what the hybrid model is going to be. I know everything. Like this, I will put my place in right now. Why the army? Like, nothing was going on.
I don't know.
This is sky before sky. This is like Wasim Bhai. The peak was
propaganda.
Propaganda. Like, no need for this at all. But Wasim Bhai being Wasim Bhai, just getting his moment in. Like, shout out to Waz.
Pakistan's first major victory since 1992, 17 years. And that's such a long time. Like, that's a whole generation. Like, we grew up hearing our dad talk about how they watched the 92 World Cup in Ramzan, those two deliveries by Wasim Akram, that partnership between Imran Khan and Javed Mida in the finals. And then we saw this in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I was at the time 11 years old. And I remember I have never felt so happy. I've never seen Pakistanis so happy. We were at a puppy's house. There was a watch party. And, even the cousins you didn't like,
they were there.
You were high-fiving them.
You were high-fiving them. You were hugging them.
There were, shots being fired in the air. There were fireworks, people on the streets.
People celebrated for, I remember, weeks after that. Like that night was insane. We couldn't go out, obviously, because the shots being fired and all that. But it was just like fireworks happening. You could hear like those, you remember China bombs?
Yes.
Those matchstick bombs.
Yes.
I remember I bought like 50 rupee China bombs and I was like blowing them up from the gallery. Kids were just running around. Like Londas had like their bike silencers removed and they were just going wheeling all over the city of Karachi.
It felt like Eid.
It genuinely felt like Eid for like a few days after that, until the team landed back. And it was just like I remember, like, I don't know what my life would have been if that 2009 World Cup had not been won. I met my wife because of cricket. Like, we have this podcast because of cricket. Like, we get to meet these people and talk to these people. Like, tonight we will be meeting Wasim Akram and Waqar Yunus in like literally an hour and a half. And I don't think any of that happens for this generation if this World Cup isn't won. Shahid Afridi he was a household name before that because of the centuries and all that. He just becomes that guy that just like you rely on. And then that Shahid Afridi myth that, Lala kar lega ke, like the king kar lega, you've heard it before, but the Lala kar lega, you haven't seen it. You saw it here, you saw it many times in the future against India as well. And there's so many stories, so many careers ballooned after this. Saeed Ajmal became who he became. We got Science as the Man. We would have never gotten Science as the Man if it wasn't for the World Cup. Umar Gul becoming one of the greatest T20 bowlers of all time. Like, it doesn't happen without this. We finally find grace in and finally find the value of Abdul Razak becoming a fast bowling all-rounder way before anybody else was really honing in this craft. So much forward-thinking cricket was happening. Again, I reiterate, this was the middle ground of Pakistan cricket. Before this, you were a different fan. After this, you were a different fan. After this, world cricket changed. IPL became a thing. The 2010 spot fixing scandal happens. Pakistan cricket goes into exile. We don't see players returning until 2017. We never thought that we'd ever see Pakistan hosting a tournament until 2025. Like, we really went down a dark rabbit hole. This felt like that last, in the Harry Potter movies, it felt like movie number 6, where the last time the heroes are hanging out, because we know what's going to happen in 7 and 8. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be war. And eventually we'll come out winning on the other side, but it's going to be a really hard-trodden next couple of years, or next decade, I would say. And it really was like that.
I agree with you. I think the context of how Pakistan won is very important, where just months before there was a terror attack on the Sri Lankan team. And the players know that there's not going to be any home series for the next foreseeable future. This is also the same year where the IPL boycotts Pakistan players. So there's the best league happening in the world, and Pakistani players are not playing. So they're being isolated by world cricket. There's no home series.
The great soft ban starts.
Correct. And what happens is that post-match, Yunus Khan, the legend that he is, he comes in, he dedicates this win to Bob Woolmer. He says, Bob made me captain. He said, Bob was the guy who entrusted me, and I want to dedicate this win to Bob Woolmer.
Yeah. Again, the man that we were talking about, the selflessness, getting Misbah padded up, making sure that he has that moment if it's brought up to him, dedicating a win to Bob Woolmer, who died tragically in a World Cup just a couple of years before. Like, again, Pakistan cricket peaked here. I don't think it's never going to peak again because there was a moment again a few years later. We've talked about it in 2017 where it peaked again. But this is the reason why, and we did a whole 65-minute talk on this, but you could just distill it down to this one moment where this is the reason why Pakistan tragics like you and I come back. This is we believe the hopium is there. There was not an outside chance that Pakistan was going to win that World Cup. Pakistan had to do this and that and hold your ear like this and drive the dog like that. Like, it was insane amounts of mental gymnastics and mathematics that we had to do to get to this result. But we did. And once you get hit with that kind of copium and hopium, bro, you come back for more every single time. And this is why this podcast exists. This is why the fandom exists. This is why on the eve or like a week before the 2026 World Cup starts, we sit here and believe again because Pakistan just beat Australia 2-0. And we're like, this can probably happen. This is against Sri Lanka. We're pretty good there. We come full circle. There was a moment in the middle where Aqib Javed was trying to convince the nation that there is no fast bowling. There is no spin attack in Pakistan. That doesn't exist. And now we're here with probably the best playing lineup since that 2009 World Cup. I'm going to be on record in saying that that's probably the case. So, this whole spiel, we've been talking for an hour and 15 about this, but it all comes down to what Pakistan cricket gifts us when it does gift us hope. And it's moments like these. It's memories like this. Like, I'll cherish it forever. And I hope that my son eventually gets the moment where he goes back and looks at a tournament that is his. Like 2009 or T20 World Cup, that's my victory. 2017 is another generation. 92 is another generation. But 2009, that's me, man. I was 13 years old. I had that Shahid Afridi poster in my room. I wanted to bowl like Shahid Afridi. I went full head into cricket after that win. And so it means a lot to millions of people. Maybe like I'm not even doing a good job articulating it, but I'm so glad that we were able to cover this World Cup because it was definitely an inflection point.
Yunus Khan retired after the World Cup. And so Yunus Khan and Joginder Sharma's last international T20 games were World Cup finals where they won for their teams. I wanted to share just some Patreon comments that we got from people who talked about what they remember of this tournament. One from Ali Khan touched my heart. He said that, not to get sappy, but it is my greatest cricketing memory for a personal reason. It was the last tournament I fully saw with my parents. They both passed soon after. I remember watching this match in my family's TV room and just weeping in joy. If I can go back in time and relive that day somehow, I would give up everything to go back. My highlight was Shahid Afridi's catch of Scott Cyrus and his 6 in the final off Udana's bowling in the 18th over. Though the Champions Trophy win was special, watching the 2019 World Cup with my parents had a special memory in my heart forever.
Ali Khan, again, being one of those diehards who, like I said, are one of those people that have owned this World Cup. This is their win. And I'm so glad that Ali shared that story with us because, it not only signifies what a huge moment it was for Pakistan cricket, but for the fans, you can never go back to 2009. What a great time it was. Atif Aslam's Doody was coming out. Things were like, Jal was
Humse Hai Zamana was the song.
Was the song of the tournament. Humse Hai Zamana by Call was the song of the tournament. People were just like, it was a great time, a moment in Pakistan history, I would say, that is just reflected in this. And thank you, Ali Khan, for sharing that story.
I also remember, because back in the day, Jio Super had the rights for those World Cups.
Yeah.
And so they had this song called Jio To Aise.
Yes.
And they rinsed and repeated the highlights with that song in the background.
And the Jeem dancing in the middle.
Dude, take me back.
Take me back. What a time, guys. I think
2009 was a gift for the Pakistan team to us. And our gift to you guys is the code BB15. For 15% off your purchase at yashisports.com. Guys, they're Canada's home of cricket.
And USA sponsors.
Sponsors of the USA men's cricket team. When USA play in the World Cup, you'll see Yashi on the sleeves, on the pants.
When they play against Pakistan, you'll see it.
It's going to happen, guys. Yashi Sports, thriving, Canada's home of cricket, the go-to place to buy your equipment in Canada, in North America.
Thank you, Yashi Sports. Thank you, Shahid Afridi. Thank you, Yunus Khan. Thank you. Who's the coach of this team? Do you remember? Coach list?
Intikhab Alam.
Shout out Inti.
Assistant manager, Aqib Javed.
Wasn't Inti also like part of the 92 team setup as well? What a guy. Bring Inti back.
Can I give some last hopium before we end off?
Please.
It took Pakistan 17 years from the 1992 World Cup to win the 2009 World Cup. It has been exactly 17 years since Pakistan won the 2009 World Cup. And here we are in 2026. There is a T20 World Cup a week away, and Pakistan is about to go off in a couple of days to Sri Lanka to face Ireland in the warm-up match, followed by Netherlands on Saturday with their first World Cup match. I'm hopeful. I believe in Pakistan's bowling attack. I think if we get to par scores, we definitely have a chance.
Which is basically what we did in 2009. We got to par score, then we spun them away. I think we were just talking to Shayan today, earlier in the day, and he did not think that Pakistan would make it to the semis. I think we are in the corner of Pakistan should and will make it to the semis. After that, it's anybody's game. And I think with the way that Agha is looking currently, with the vibe that the team currently possesses, I think that you're looking at a pretty good run. Keep the hopium high, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you listen to all 1 hour and 20 minutes of this podcast, there should be an emoji of the day. But if you haven't listened in a while, if you have listened to this part of the podcast, what emoji should you comment? A championship, a World Cup, a trophy? Trophy. If you've come to the end of this podcast, please comment a trophy into the comments, and I will personally go to every single comment and see which one that was. Appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you guys for tuning into this one, and thank you for all the Patreon questions and your responses. If you guys want to follow more, check the description below. That's God Behind. Cheers.